Well, hello and good evening. Today is a Wednesday. You ever have those days where it just doesn't feel like it's that day? I've like been thrown off all week. I guess it's because I took Monday off so my husband and I could have some time together because we haven't had like a day together since December when he was off Christmas Day. Yeah, so it's been a minute. And today I've already gotten in more than 10,000 steps. Totally psyched about that. And I'm sharing that on my community tab. I've been keeping up with usually writing it each day, but on Patreon, I've been keeping up like how many steps I'm kind of like journaling, I guess, how far I've gone each day. Some days I write more than others. Just like everything else, sometimes we do more, sometimes we do less. And of course, tonight I have Beth, the Queen of Spade, with me. Hello, Beth. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for having me again. I'm very excited about today.
Yeah. Oh, and I did tell Beth something that I haven't told you guys yet, and we will be covering this. Somebody brought it to my attention in the comments that these brobots, the Canadian brobots that came after me when I first started on YouTube back in 2019, and these Canadian brobots came into my world. I started making videos about them. They came after me. I had a video taken down, so I dug deeper and just found more jank. Well, now they're being investigated in Bhutan. And I'm like, yay, Bhutan, for a small country, y'all are going after some stuff. And I'm very proud of you for doing that. And so we will be covering that because I know, Beth, you've known of the saga of the brobots,
Oh, yes. I covered them as well when they came after you.
That's right. That's right. You did. So
I
we'll be
did.
looking
I
at
had to back
everything just
that. I was like,
because.
no, we don't come after my friends here.
Well, I think it's so funny because they were just so, huffy and puffy, when I was making videos on them. And I've made probably, oh, I don't know, I guess including all the other Enagic stuff, probably over 10 videos in total. I haven't counted it up, but I was able to just basically reveal their entire scam. Now, we will be
Oh,
actually
yeah.
some of their training stuff, and the way they have the training set up is now different. But here, get this, Beth, are you ready for this? Not are they only brobots for Enagic, but they've added on send out cards. Are you familiar with
Oh,
that one?
no.
Yeah, another one.
Yeah, I know what that is.
And they were already pushing this other like coaching thing and workout, whatever, the Positive Shift Academy. And once you get a certain level in Enagic, and you're part of the dream team, you have to get this Positive Shift Academy membership too, which of course has an affiliate membership. So Darren and Mike are just pocketing more money from there. But tonight, we're not talking about Darren and Mike. We are going to talk about, I know it's not on passive. We're really going to be focusing on Amway and something that recently happened there.
Yeah.
Oh, please do look into the problems that they did have and Enagic had in Japan. So, yeah, I did find the 21st song and finally memed it and everything. And since this is not on passive, I did not know if you guys would want to see the new song. I know, Beth, you are interested in hearing it.
Oh, yes.
Well,
Yes, I am.
I think that means that we're going to have to look at it after all. And it does help us get in the mood of just like dealing with any of this craziness. So let me bring it on up and we will just play it for shits and grins. All right, here we go. Yeah, yeah.
need. There is no time. We have to shine. Move on the, move talking. Bless, wallet, network, tweet, mail. Come on, we can move on. Yeah. Business, bitches. I'm passive, yeah, I'm passive, 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 I'm passive. Passive, elle a fait ton choix. Sois pessimiste pour ta joie. Sois optimiste pour ta voix. T'as tapé tes business combien de
Oh, Lord.
Révolution, révolution, business, changer, ta vie, partager, mon avis, bâton de lever l'humanité de la pauvreté en prospérité. Je sois membre consommateur, pour moi, membre consommateur. Tu feras de l'argent, qu'il y aura un riche argent. On fondait, on toque, on blesse, on wallet, on network, on tweet, on mail, on stop, on fondait, on traque, on blesse. Tu feras de l'argent, tu seras un riche argent. On passe, on passe, on passe, on passe, on passe. I'm passive, yeah, I'm passive, 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 yeah. Yeah. Come on, come on, yeah. Yeah.
And that's it. That is the 21st song that we have now located. And yeah, I mean, the guy can sing. At least I thought he could. It's like too much talent wasted on passive. And I think you should be doing other things. But, there you go. So, Beth, was it everything you thought it would be and more or less or none of the above?
Well, it could have been worse. It could have been better. I feel like he was a better singer than a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like an Indian icon, if you will.
And Angel, I don't think we have ever heard Ash talk about any of the songs other than the anthem. That's it. Which really makes
Yeah.
me kind of sad for, all the energy that's gone into these things and they're not even acknowledged. That's really kind of, shitty, I think.
You know what? It is true. Like, I know that Ash did bring up the Catmo one once.
He did? Okay, I don't remember that.
And I think he might have mentioned their theme song like one time. Like just one time. But I do agree that like if you really think about the fact that there's 21 songs that all these people have like written and then dedicated to this man, like you would think he would have mentioned them a lot more or promoted them more, like used them like how we use them.
You would think he
Or
would do something with
something.
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it is true. He definitely does not like give anyone the credit that they deserve for the work that they put into these songs at
Well,
all.
that would
That's for sure.
take the light away from him, and he wants it all shining on him. So that's my thought about that. He
Yeah,
doesn't want to
maybe they
shine the
don't
light.
praise him enough.
And I don't know if the anthem was paid for, though. I don't know about that, Angel. So no clue.
See,
So
I don't
tonight,
know either, but I do know other MLMs have paid for theirs, so that wouldn't be too weird.
before we get into the article that we're going to read about Amway being a suspected pyramid scheme in India, I thought it would be interesting if we just looked over on Wikipedia and just read, and I'm not going to be able to pronounce all these names, and maybe you will be able to, Beth, look at what it says there about Amway India to kind of just get our bearings, because there has been some history there.
Yeah.
All right. There we go.
See, the issue with India, and I kind of did a little bit of a video where I kind of touched on this a bit today, is they don't have a lot of the same laws either when it comes to like products and income claims, medical claims, all that kind of stuff. So they're harder to regulate in India. And as we know, Amway is one of the big companies that really likes to like cozy up to the government there
Yeah.
and everywhere. Everywhere it can.
Well, something else that we will be looking at tonight is Amway's policy on international sponsoring and multiple business requirements, the FAQs for that, because I think that all fits
Mhm.
in with, what we're going to be looking at. But also, we may be able to dovetail it into, kind of theorizing what's going on with on passive. I don't know if that will come up or not, because I haven't gone through this with a fine-tooth comb, but just basically some of my thoughts. And I also think that in the near future, it'll be interesting if we do a stream, kind of a live dive of like, how difficult is it to create a business in Dubai? What are the steps you have to go through? What did Ash go through, or what do we think he went through?
Oh, that
I
would be
think that,
fun.
I think that kind of would like center
Good
us
night,
and like, so
Joe.
we can
Sorry.
speculate on things. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into this Amway India. I'll go ahead and start reading, and then we'll take turns the way we do it. In September 2006, following a public complaint, I cannot pronounce these names. This person and
Andhra Pradesh.
thank you. And
Andhra Pradesh and Telangana.
state police
Telangana.
initiated raids and seizures against Amway distributors in the state and submitted a petition against them, claiming the company violated the Price, Chits, and Money Circulation Schemes Banning Act. They shut down all corporate offices associated with the Amway organization, including the offices of some Amway distributors. The enforcement said that the business model of the company is illegal. The Reserve Bank of India, RBI, had notified the police that Amway in India may be violating certain laws regarding a money circulation scheme. And the IB Times article writes that some say Amway is really more about making money from recruiting people to become distributors as opposed to selling products. Wow, big shocker there. In 2008, the state government of Andhra Pradesh, I messed it up.
Pradesh.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Enacted a
Pradesh.
ban on Amway media advertisements. On August 6th of 2011, okay, how do you say that one?
Kerala.
Kerala police sealed the offices of Amway
Kerala.
at these places, and I'm not going to even try, following complaints. In November 2012, the Economic Offenses Wing of Kerala's police conducted searches at the offices of Amway at this place and this place and this place, because I can't pronounce those names, sorry, as part of its crackdown on money chain activities, and closed down the firm's warehouses at these centers. Products valued at 21.4 million rupees, which is about $400,000 of US dollars at that time, were also seized. Later,
Yeah.
area manager of Amway, PM Rakumar,
Prime
did I
Minister.
do what?
Rajkumar.
Okay,
I know.
thank you. Who was,
Rajkumar. It's Prime Minister. That's what
who
PM
was
is. Prime
arrested
Minister.
following searches, was remanded in judicial custody for 14 days. On May 27th, 2013, crime branch officials of Kurla, how do you say it again? Kurla? I saw
Kerala.
that Kurla. Okay,
I
I
believe
mean,
it's
I suck at
Kerala.
this. Kerala
I
police
suck at it
arrested
too. I just know some of it.
William S. Pickney, managing director and CEO of Amway India Enterprises, along with two other directors of the company from, I don't know, even don't have, not going to even try. The three were arrested on
Cody.
charges of running a pyramid scheme. They were granted bail the next day, and the business was unaffected. On June 8th, 2013, this court lifted the freeze on
Cody.
Amway offices in Kerala. On May 26th, 2014, whatever was
Pink me.
arrested, thank you, by
By per
this
dad.
person, police, on the basis of a consumer complaint that alleged unethical circulation of money by Amway. He was subsequently arrested in other criminal cases registered against him in the state of allegations of financial irregularities by the company. Pickney was jailed for 2 months until being released on bail. In 2017, how do you say this one?
Chandigarh.
Okay.
Believe.
Court framed charges under Section 420 of the Indian Penal Code and Price Chits and Money Circulation Scheme Banning Act against two directors of Amway India, William Scott Pickney and this other person. This was based on a cheating case filed by 8 complainants in 2002, following which the Economic Offenses Wing had filed a charge sheet in 2012. A revision plea moved by the two Amway officials against the frame charges was dismissed in 2018. In April of 2022, the Enforcement Directorate attached both movable and immovable assets of Amway India worth about $99 million US, including the firm's factory in, how do you say this one?
Sorry, the firm's factory in Dinglago. Oh, I don't know that one.
Oh, you did
Some of
better
them
than
I
I
know, some of
did.
them I don't know. I just find it interesting though, because a lot of these are the more rural places.
Along with bank accounts under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, PMLA. And this is what we're going to be looking at right now of what happened. So, as you can see from 2006 on, Amway has faced difficulties in India, and that's basically what I was trying to like frame with all of this, that it's not just this one time right now.
Yeah.
There's been a history of like, hey, there's some stuff going on. Hey, we don't think this stuff is very good. And I think that's important to
Oh,
kind of
and it's been like,
frame it.
yeah, and it
What
hasn't just been like the normal MLM kind of things either that they're doing in India. Like, they're not just getting in trouble for like illegal income claims or medical claims or being scammy. They're straight on up getting in trouble for money laundering and with the government there and doing some really shady business stuff that just looks really, really bad. And I think they're still investigating some of it too. I don't think that this is all hit a resolution yet.
I don't think so either. And
Yeah, like I think it's still ongoing. Like they keep finding stuff basically, and it's like, yeah, see, like this, like this is in 20, yeah, So this is what I mean. It just keeps on going, and it seems like it's just deeper and deeper, and the more they look into it, like the
Right.
the the more is there.
Now, I think I have something. Oh, I'm getting the pyramid. I'm sorry, the behind MLM. I get notified every day of like kind of like headlines of what's going on along. I have Google alerts too, and that's how this popped up for me. So I'm like, oh, this is interesting.
Mhm.
And I thought this was especially interesting because we know that On Passive is an hybridad. Now, On Passive is alleging that it's not an MLM, and technically, right now, there's no compensation plan or anything. So it's not really an MLM, but we know that Ash has a long history in the
It's a
world of
unicorn
multi-level
MLM,
marketing.
okay? It's a
And we
unicorn
know that
MLM.
Mike and Marty and all these other people, Michael Williams, all of them, Dr. Bill Williams, they all have like a background in the world of multi-level marketing. And since one of the offices is in India, I find it interesting that there's something going on with literally the largest MLM in the world, that there's problems there. And I just find, I'm like, huh, will this have any kind of impact on anything? I don't know, but I just find it to be something that we should
Well,
talk about.
the good news about India is that if this does go through, it will be kind of similar to US and Canada, where it will be easier for them in future to like go after these companies if they're
Yeah,
doing similar activities. So like for example, if On Passive then is doing these similar things, then it will be easier for us to go after them for it if this goes through.
because a precedent has been
Which, holy
established.
crap. Yeah, could you imagine though having $99 million frozen?
That's a lot.
Like, just holy crap. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It's a lot of
That
money these people have ripped off.
And that's what I was gonna say. Imagine how much the entire Amway organization, how much money is there, which is absolutely just frightening to me. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at this article. Amway, a suspected pyramid scheme in India, $99 million frozen, which, by the way, there are a number of articles by other journalists and stuff out there, but I just find the Behind MLM one to be a really good source to go to because other things will be mentioned that maybe that other journalists would not, include.
Yeah, like
Authorities
particularly about Amway.
Yeah, authorities in India have launched a pyramid fraud investigation into Amway. The preliminary stage of the investigation has seen core assets frozen $99.1 million USD. The latest Indian investigation into Amway has been initiated by the Enforcement Directorate. Money laundering is also part of the case. And, if they find anything in money laundering, in my mind, because you and I, Beth, have talked about how we think that within these other organizations, other MLMs, that money laundering could be a part of it. So, I mean, I would not be shocked whatsoever if that is just kind of baked into the overall core functioning of these things. The
I've
enforcement
definitely
directorate,
accused On Passive of that.
I wouldn't be
Like,
surprised if
I've
that was
straight
going on
up
with
said
them.
I'm pretty sure that that's what they're into or something similar.
The Enforcement Directorate accused the company of running a multi level marketing scam where prices of most of the products offered by the company were exorbitant as compared to the alternative popular products of reputed manufacturers available in the open market. And that's how it is with every MLM. A money laundering investigation by the ED revealed that Amway is running a pyramid fraud in the guise of direct selling multi-level marketing network, the agency said. The ED describes Amway's business model as your classic product-based pyramid scheme. Without knowing the real facts, the common gullible public is induced to join as members of the company and purchase products at exorbitant prices and are thus losing their hard earned money. Now, take that and apply it to On Passive. that would be the gullible public, is induced to joining, becoming a founder, and basically losing their hard earned money from doing that. The new members are not buying the products to use them, but to become rich by becoming members as showcased by the upline members. And that's how it always is that they parade around these people who have, quote, made it. So you think, oh, I can climb on up there and do that too. Reality is that the commission received by the upline members contribute enormously to the hike of prices of the products, it
Yes.
added. The entire focus of the company is about propagating how members can become rich by becoming members. And that is on Passive's focus right now. That just join and you are going to, quote, win.
Well, that's a pyramid scheme part, right?
Yeah.
Especially if you're not offering any products.
There is no focus on the products. On Passive has no focus on products. Products are used to masquerade this MLM pyramid fraud as a direct selling company, the agency said.
Listen,
This is
Alonda, to be fair, they have a very big focus on their products and talking about their products. They just don't have any that exist.
but on Passive, yeah, they talk about them sometimes that they're coming.
They're very focused on them,
Right
just they're not in existence.
Oops. This is the strongest condemnation of a larger MLM company I've seen in India yet. Back in 2013, then Amway India CEO William Scott Pickney Wright, which we already talked about him, was arrested on charges of financial irregularities. The Economic Offenses Wing charged Pickney and several Amway executives over pyramid fraud leading to illegal money circulation. Pickney was released on bail but arrested again in 2014 on similar charges. He was again released on bail a few months later. Amway operates in India as Amway India Enterprises Private Limited. The current CEO of the company is this person right here, Ashnu. Did I say it right? And anyway, this person.
Anshu
Anshu
Raja.
Budraja. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, the
I
H is
apologize to anyone who is Indian and hearing me just completely screw up these words. I can't help it. I'm not trying to make them sound horrible. I just can't. I don't know how to get my mouth around them. Pickney's arrests are tied to an investigation into Amway that began in 2011. In responding to the latest asset seizure, Amway confirms in 2011 investigation is linked and ongoing. Oh, that's interesting. Amway India said the action of the authorities is with regards to the investigation dating back to 2011. And since then, we have been cooperating with the department and have shared all the information as sought from time to time since 2011. We will continue to cooperate with the relevant government authorities and law officials towards a fair, legal, and logical conclusion of the outstanding issues. They are so upstanding. Let's give them a round of applause for cooperating and being so forthcoming. I hope you did catch my heavy sarcasm. That Indian authorities have been investigating Amway for 13 years straight is remarkable.
right.
NETV points out that pyramid fraud laws were strengthened in India last December. The government had banned direct selling companies from promoting pyramid schemes in December. The Consumer Protection Direct Selling Rules 2021 were aimed at protecting consumers' rights and restricting companies which are involved in direct selling, like Tupperware, Amway, and Oriflame, from encouraging money circulation schemes.
Hey, Alonda, in the
Yes.
private chat, I actually just posted you a quick article that goes over that just really quickly. And
That goes over.
like what happened with the
Oh,
direct selling rules. It's just a really good summary if you're interested in just quickly browsing just to kind of show what it is?
I can do that. If I can actually like control what I'm doing.
Just because it works similar to like the Consumer Protection Act that like you guys have and we have,
No, I
but
gotta find which one is
it's a little bit different.
what is it called? Which one is it? Okay, it's that. That's what it looks like. Sorry, I have to figure out which tab to click. I think it's this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, the government, they banned the direct selling pyramid business model basically completely.
So you want to read through this?
Sure. So the important parts that we need to know is that basically anyone in India is not allowed to be promoting the pyramid scheme or participate in what they call a money circulation scheme. Pyramid scheme is a business model that recruits or engages members with a promise of payments or services, and then they enroll others into the scheme instead of sale of products, as they say. So what they did is they wanted to regulate the direct selling entities, and that they are only after the direct selling companies, which includes MLMs. So in India, it doesn't matter if you're considered direct selling, MLM, or what the hell you call yourself. If you're using that business model, that's it. So they have the Prize Chit and Money Circulation Schemes Banning Act, which actually prohibits any company or individual, so even a person can be charged under this just on their own, from running a pyramid or money circulating scheme. The Reserve Bank of India basically had to issue several public notices urging people coming across such offers to lodge a complaint with the state police. And then basically Amway is one of the companies that have been doing this direct selling model along with basically any MLM that can open there. And technically on passive would be doing it too.
Yeah, that's what I was
They
thinking.
might even be a straight up money circulation scheme, because the difference with India and their kind of like distinction between those two things is the fact that there's a product or not, right?
Right.
Yeah, but in there, technically on passive would be a money circulation scheme, which is another word for their Ponzi scheme. That's basically what they call their Ponzi schemes there. So they have to comply, like any of the companies or people that are involved in direct selling have to comply with the consumer protection e-commerce rules within 90 days from the time that this went into effect. So they, how do I explain this? They basically had to shut down, or they had to prove that they were selling products over just recruiting, and that they were doing it in a different model altogether. They also have to ensure that their consumers can make an informed decision, which means that they have to mention available payment methods, fees payable by users, and the procedure to cancel regular payments. They also have to display the complete price of any goods or service in single figure, along with its breakup price, showing all compulsory and voluntary charges, including delivery, postage, and handling, besides conveyance charges and the applicable taxes. Because before this went into effect, there was actually nothing that regulated in India that you had to do this. So that's why I think a lot of the MLMs were coming here.
Yeah.
It was easier to rip off India because you literally didn't even have to provide the information about pricing like you do in the US, Canada, Australia, anywhere else really, right? I mean, you could have postage and handling fees and not tell anyone until checkout, basically. By then, most people are already so into buying the product that they just go through with the sale, right? So it's kind of a schemy way of getting them. So they gave all of the companies basically 90 days. Now, this was a while ago. When was this published? Is this really
Uh,
on there? Because this was, yeah,
December 28th, 2021. So recently.
yeah, like, but a while ago in comparison to like, so this was it like last year. So this was right around the time that Ash was moving to India. So he was probably moving there thinking that he would be able to pull his scheme off really good, and then these laws
Oh,
were just
he
coming
was
into
already
effect.
there before 2021 because he had the other Indian office too before Hyderabad.
Yeah, and he probably went
Bangalore.
there
Yeah, I think it
because
was
the
like 2020
laws,
or 2020
like,
or 2019.
yeah, and he was probably like, "Oh, I don't even have to have a product there. I don't even have to tell people about what it will cost for the services and goods," because they didn't really have much regulation for this. They had some laws that said like if you rip people off, then you get in trouble. They had like some consumer protection, but if you look, it's the Consumer Protection Direct Selling Rules 2021. So it wasn't until 2021 that India got real consumer protection. So anyone that went to India before then, it's fair to say that they probably went there
It was just like
knowing.
Wild West. It was just like that's what I picture it as, of people just going there and setting up shop and taking advantage of
Yeah,
it.
like Ash would have been like, "Oh, this is a place that has no consumer protection. So this will be a
Fantastic.
great place for me to go and rip people off." And same with like Tupperware, same with Amway, same with Oriflame, like they're talking about, same with any of the MLMs basically that went there. And now they're kind of being hit these past several months now with this new law. Now, if I'm not mistaken though, money circulation schemes does not automatically equate to money laundering. It can also mean just schemes that circulate money within themselves, like I said, like just like a Ponzi scheme. But it also does include money laundering and all that kind of stuff as well. So I do feel like at the very least, Ash is breaking that act. And that one's been around since 1978. It just says that it was inadequate for regulating the pyramid schemes because of the no consumer protection. You kind of have to have the consumer protection in order to properly regulate the scams, right? Because what are you regulating them for? Well, for the consumer protection.
So I will continue. It's possible the Amway investigation had been put on ice while authorities waited for the law to catch up. For the most part, India's Prize Chits and Money Circulation Schemes Banning Act, enacted in 1978, was woefully inadequate for regulating pyramid schemes with. Let's see if the new strengthened laws fare any better. So far, $99 million seizure in leaps and bounds above anything we saw under the old laws. And that's it. And somebody said, Thomas said, reminds me of Forever Living operated a decade ago. How did that end up? From Oz was a push to spread Forever Living products to Pakistan in 2019. That appears to have flopped. It too is primarily active in India. Same monthly auto ship pyramid model. And then Charles says there is no focus on the products. Products are used to masquerade this MLM pyramid fraud as a direct selling company. The agency said, duh, and more duh. Any direct selling company that offers commissions for endless chain recruitment, aka MLM, you won't have focus on retailing product or to non affiliates. Why buy retail when anyone can buy wholesale and make it an opportunity? Plus, this is how the company moves product via direct IBO orders and consumption. There you go. I find that all very interesting. So now I want to bring up, let me see, I think we need to look at this first before we look at the Amway one. And this is international sponsoring and commissioning. I don't know if you've ever seen this before, Beth. You want to start reading it?
Sure. It says if your company is preparing to go international, you need to consider how you will handle international sponsoring and commissioning. It sounds so weird, doesn't it? You
It
need to
does.
consider how your compensation plan will operate in the different types of markets: e-commerce, traditional, and in-person markets. The behaviors you need to reward will vary from one market type to another. You'll also need to decide how and if you'll reward distributors from one country who sponsor individuals in other countries. No specific
Hang
method.
on a second. I think that's very interesting considering with on passive, people in, say, I don't know, South Africa could sponsor someone who is in Taiwan. I don't think they have anything in place within on passive. That is all like you can just sponsor anyone, which I wonder how that stands up against this type of stuff.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I
go
was
on.
just
Sorry.
thinking, and I remember when I was in It Works, we had to pay extra if we wanted to do international. We had to like pay extra money to get like an extra license under all this.
Uh, that'll be,
Yeah, so it's
yeah.
kind of, I just thought it was a money grab, but here we are. No specific method of international commissioning has become a de facto standard. Oh, great. Isn't that wonderful? All of them create challenges for the company. Lovely. So you need to weigh your options before your distributors start trying to open new markets on their own. Yeah, don't go pull a doTERRA. There are 5 common strategies companies use to implement international commission plans.
Okay, stop right there for a second because I keep thinking of on passive. On passive doesn't have a commission plan that we know of. So it's almost like they've thrown this out the window and aren't even worrying about it. They're just like getting all these people under other people without realizing how it could then impact everything if they were to go public and to the open to the market, to the world. You know what I'm saying? Am I making
Yeah,
any
no, it definitely makes sense what you're saying because
it's like they're trying to like do everything they don't have the foundation is basically what I'm saying, that
yeah,
you should
they're
have
they're
all that
always like
foundation
ahead of
already.
themselves in a
Yeah,
weird way.
yeah. So they would have to like retrofit everything, and think about how hard that would be to retrofit something that's already quote exploded and there's a million people are part of, or at
Well,
least a
that's
million accounts.
I think that's what part of our issue is with the fact that there's no business plan or setup for this thing. And it does feel like sometimes he's almost working backwards,
Yeah.
like from the last step that normal people would take to the first step that us normal people would take when creating a business. And I think that's what bugs us. It's because, yeah, it's just how do you even figure out any of this then? And you're signing up what? Imagine having a million people and then you have to go back and figure all that out.
All
Like,
the international
nobody would do that, though. Like, nobody in their goddamn right mind would ever run a business like that. And I think that's what you and I just keep going over and like pulling our hair out over, is the fact that like everything is done wrong.
Right.
Like, he doesn't do a step correctly in anything. And then it's like, the more we find out, the more we prove that. So I guess these are the 5 steps here, which it kind of makes it funny that they say there's no like de facto way, but here are the 5
The 5
ways.
strategies. Here's the 5 strategies that are used.
Yes, but here are the 5 ways. No international sponsoring allowed. Companies which opt for this methodology restrict distributors from sponsoring internationally. Oh, is that what that means? So if I'm a distributor from the US and I want to sponsor a downline in Portugal, I can't unless I can prove residency or have created a legal entity in Portugal. Now that sounds like something that Ash would have his people do.
Yeah.
No, and number 2 is apparently just no international commission plan. With plans like these, distributors are allowed to sponsor internationally if they are of a certain rank, but they won't receive commissions on sales made by those they sponsor outside their own country. Okay, I need to stop right there for a minute.
Sure.
Could you freaking imagine, Alonda, if you were in Beachbody and you had like 10 people under you from my country here in Canada, and you were like doing all the work with these 10 freaking people, but then you weren't getting any commissions on any of their
I
sales?
think this.
Like, what? Why would you even have this as a strategy? This just seems like you're ripping off all of your distributors in your company. Like, that would just piss off all the Huns. If you're using that one, all of your Huns hate you. Then we have a partial upline payment, which doesn't sound very promising either, by the way. And it says this strategy pays commissions to a distributor who builds a downline in a new country. However, there's always a but. Payments to this distributor's upline are limited to a number of generations that is less than the standard commission plan. Now, that one I have actually seen, where it's like you only get 3 levels down,
Yeah.
and then after that, you don't get any more commission from the people underneath. So I will say that one's actually quite common in MLMs. Then we have this worldwide seamless downline with regional commission plans, which, I mean, say that one 10 times fast. And they say that this one is the middle ground, by the way. Apparently, we had to get to number 4 to get to the middle. A company following this methodology. Can we just talk about how they're talking about this like it's some kind... I hate the word methodology. Like it's some kind of like method way to do these things, when really there is no way to run a good MLM. I'm just throwing that out there. Like, they're like, these are the methods, or they talk about it like the word ology, like psychology, sociology. MLM methodology is not on that list.
It's not.
Like, I just don't like the word. Every time I say it, I'm like, ugh. But now they're saying that with this one, you're paying commissions differently from country to country. So the distributors who sponsor individuals in a country different from their own will receive the full commissions on their downline, but each commission will be paid according to the commission plan where the product was sold. So then I would have a different commission plan than Alonda. If I was her downline, I'm in Canada, she's in the US. my commission is only 25%. Hers is 30. So if I sell a product, she only ends up getting 25% because here in Canada, the commission is 25%, even though she lives in the US and where she is, it's 30. So, I mean, it makes some sense.
Well, let me ask you this, because this makes it sound like each country would need to have the payout plan kind of like formulated for that country and
Yes.
how their economy works. And so
Yes.
that means in Ash's case, since he has, 700 bazillion different countries that are all part of our passive, he would
Yes.
need to have that many different type, commission
He
plans.
better get right in those commission plans, man. If he was doing this one, he'd have to have 7 million different compensation plans, like one for each company. Like it would have to be like, all right, in the US, this is one. In India, here's another one that goes by what they would make. Because the idea is that if you're doing this one, for example, if he wanted to make the commission, let's say, if you're selling founders, you get 25%. Well, 25% in US is, and the money is a lot more than 25% if you're in India. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
so the idea is that then it would be quote unquote more fair because, if you're going by the US standard, then those in India become millionaires way quicker than people in the US. And then that's not considered fair. Equal opportunity to become millionaires for all of the MLM Huns. So that is what it is. But again, like you just pointed out, it's a hell of a lot of work for the company.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like,
And I
wow.
don't see Ash ever, even if there was only 3 countries he was in. We're having trouble with him making one commission.
One,
Man,
much less ones that are country specific.
we're not getting more. We're not getting any more from him. I have no hope for that. So now this one is the one which I feel like if you're not doing like the one where it cuts off after a limited number of generations, then you're probably doing this one, which is the worldwide seamless downline and commission plan. And these are the commission plans that pay the same all around the world. Distributors get paid on their downline no matter where in the world they do their sponsoring. Quite a few very successful companies have implemented this method of commissioning since 1990. Most of these companies have ultimately created some differences in the way commissions are paid from country to country, but have retained the original intent. The most successful and fastest growing international companies of the last decade have used some form of the worldwide seamless downline. In the early 1990s, a seamless commission plan was very popular. However, as you talk to people in the companies that implement these plans, you're confronted with the economic realities of trying to make a single commission plan work in a world where per capita income is so widely varied. At the other end of the spectrum, you have companies restricting any sponsor relationships from occurring between 2 countries. Obviously, this avoids the frustrations of implementing a seamless worldwide plan, but it comes with problems of its own. Yeah, we got 99 problems, and MLMs are all of them. Many distributors believe that paying multi-level commissions is not just a method of marketing a product, but also a commitment to a philosophy. Now, isn't that half the issue?
It is.
Right there. It's not just the method of marketing a product or running a business, it's our whole life philosophy. And it says, because of this view, many distributors doubt the philosophical commitment of companies deciding not to pay full multi-level commissions to existing distributors as they enter new countries. It triggers the same kind of backlash that a company would get if they opened retail stores or other out-of-channel sales methods. I feel like this whole article so far was like, here are the 5 ways. But if you don't do the last one, they will all come for you. And you're like, okay, I'll go with the last one. Why then do companies open international markets without paying full multi-level commissions? I don't know. Why the hell do you open up freaking MLM markets at all? In my experience, I have no clue who wrote this or what their experience is. And I don't think Alonda does either, by the way.
No,
They never
wait
tell
for this
us.
thing.
There are 6 basic reasons. Implementation costs. Creating a computer system to process these commissions can be very costly, or it just never happens if you're on passive. Higher commissions. Specific international markets might reach their maximum commission payout at lower sales under a seamless model. Benefits few distributors, which again, you'll notice that this whole article is more about benefiting the company than the distributors. So see, even the direct sales resource will show you that it's more about the company than the people. Yeah, than the people. So very few distributors actually build international downlines. So going with a seamless model can mean creating a very expensive program in terms of payout and operations costs, from which the benefit accrues to very few people. It benefits the distributors if they get a high payout, but the company won't like it. Commission plan du jour. Now, je parle de français. Companies like having the flexibility to create a new commission plan to meet the needs of each international market. Yeah, but imagine if you actually had a commission plan du jour. I mean, that means a commission a day. We don't want that. That would be awful, and I would hate my life if I was on and my commission plan changed all the damn time. Operational horror stories. They should also read some MLM horror stories, I'm just saying. Seamless international plans do create operations problems for companies that are pretty well known in the industry. I feel like that didn't tell us much about anything, by the way. It's like, yeah, there's problems here, dude. Careful. Different regions of the world prefer different commission plans. As a company moves its international expansion to regions where other commission plans are preferred, sometimes, not all the time, just sometimes, it is easier not to be burdened with fitting a new commission plan in with existing plans in other regions of the world. Okay? The important question is, would companies who've implemented seamless worldwide plans, weathered the difficulties, do it again? That was the worst written sentence I have read since I tried to read on passive. Jesus Christ. A solid majority of senior executives we at InfoTrax have worked with who have implemented these plans believe that if they had it to do over again, they would do a seamless downline and some form of flexible commission plan strategy. Why? I don't know, because you like to rip people off. If you allow for a seamless downline, distributors build the downlines that create the international sales volume. In other words, the hard labor of opening new markets takes care of itself. When you have trained and effective sales leaders, they drive the creation of sales volume in those markets.
Okay, hang on right there. That whole thing about effective sales leaders, meaning the high-ranking top Huns
Yeah.
in that market, which makes me think of on passive of like the David Bacau in Papua New Guinea and the people Charles Osong, Cameroon. They
Well,
have
yeah,
those
like I
top
said, this whole
people.
thing, if you actually pay attention to the art, like this whole article and most of the ones on this site, the whole thing, even in the for distributors area, by the way, is actually just written for the companies and the top Huns. Like it's all about just the companies and
The
the top
top.
Huns making it. They really don't care about anyone else underneath.
Well, I mean, and we've looked at John Taylor's, the visual that I have of, if you're like in New Skin and you're at the top level of all the people underneath you, of like how impossible that becomes.
That looks like my nightmare. Like I don't even know why anyone would want to be that 1%. Like when I look at
Exactly.
that thing, I get a headache. I remember trying to
You
figure out the
should.
It Works chart. And I don't know if you guys have ever see. I should show the whole It Works chart one day. It's pretty close to the New Skin one. There's charts everywhere, and I remember like it used to be hell trying to explain it to people. We would have like boards, and I just remember being like, "Dude, should it be this hard to explain? Like, why is it this hard to explain? Something's wrong, you know?"
Exactly. That's the thing. Something was wrong.
But yeah, it's very, very apparent to me that this article is written for the company and just the top to be successful. They're trying to paint it out like they care about the people at the bottom, but if
But they
you
don't.
really pay attention, they really freaking don't. Like at all. All right, where was I? Oh, if you don't have an international commission plan, each new market is the same hit or miss proposition as opening the original company. Well, I mean, that would make sense. With an international commissioning system in place, each new market can build on the momentum of the previous markets that have been successfully opened. So,
Okay, now back to Ashton on passive. He just basically was like, "We're open in all markets right now."
yeah, I always think about that too, about how it's like so weird that he did that. Because most people, and I think you and I have touched on this in the past, like they take over like just their local area, then their like, state or their province, then their
Right.
country. Then they go to another country and like
It's
try to do something over
incremental.
there.
It's not like we're just blasting the world with our shit,
It's like, I'm going to open in every single country and see which one sticks. Go. Like, it's just so strange. But then it kind of shows you that it is a scam and that he is just kind of throwing things at the wall to see what sticks,
Yeah.
Like, what country can I rip off the most? Where will my scam work out? Apparently, India. So then I love how this thing is written like a question and answer session now. So, why not use this seamless strategy? Through hard experience, companies have learned that other countries cannot be treated as a 51st state. Oh, wow. Issues like per capita income, business practices, even availability of door-to-door shipping means commission plans must be modified, not so much by geographical region, but by economic region.
Which just
This,
sounds like a nightmare to me.
doesn't it though?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like not only for the company either, but also for any of the
Uh-huh.
Huns that are trying to like run a team in these places.
And yeah, all over the place. Imagine being somebody in on passive, and let's just say that they did have commission plan in place, and you have people all over the world. You have some people in France, you have somebody in the UK, you have somebody in Ghana,
Canada.
you have somebody in Laos, and none of them, they're all using different commission plans. And now that means that you, as their top person, you're going to have to understand the nuances of those different plans. That sounds terrible.
I just think of like, imagine when we were talking about how the website was opening and they didn't have the different languages, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we thought that that translation issue was a problem. Well, this is like that times 10.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's all I can kind of put into perspective with it is like we thought that was a big issue and that was going to create language barriers and problems. And then just think about all this stuff too when you think about them trying to open so internationally right away. And it's just it's really crazy. And it just goes to show even more how unplanned this whole thing is. Like Ash hasn't planned any business plan for this thing at all. He's just out here opening
And
the
that's the thing is
company.
that, like, when you listen to the founders, nobody is mentioning how, like, whatever the pay structure is, you're going to need to consider the different economies and how all that is going to function together. And they are probably not mentioning it because they probably aren't thinking about it because they don't know that they need to consider that. And you shouldn't, I mean, if you join something, you shouldn't have to go into that minutia because the company should have everything laid out for you and be able to explain it to you. However, with Unpassive, there's nothing laid out. There's no foundation.
And part of it is because Ash hasn't planned any. And then the other part of it too is because in order for him to try to hide that he hasn't planned anything, he tries to make it sound like you being a founder, if you're in the company, is you being a part of the process. So
Right.
you're all coming up with it together and creating this company, all of you together, and it's like that's not going to be the case. But it is funny that you just mentioned that cuz I mean, they understand economic crisis and the fact that there's different economies when they talk about Oblast and what they want to do to help people, right? But then no, they don't talk about it in terms of any of this.
Yeah.
And that's kind of interesting. So I know that they aren't fully blind to the fact that it exists. So it's kind of like now I don't know, are they not talking about it because they're not thinking about it? Or have they thought about it and they're not talking about it on purpose because they realize that this is where it falls apart? Because technically, like, there is no way for this thing to work like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I feel like that Lamar's kind of hit the nail on the head. It's almost like Ash has this idea for a company and products, but then there's no way that he can put that idea and make it a reality. So he's just kind of hanging out and then
But he
like
can't
collecting money. Like it's very strange.
but he can do flashy marketing things in Dubai.
Yeah, but like, can he though? Like, I feel
Well,
like even like I'm very disappointed in him
oh,
as
I
a
am too.
marketer. Like, I would expect so much more, and for him to not have to use these big flashy ways, I feel like it's all very showy, which again,
Yes.
distraction on purpose, etc. But it's like, man, this guy's supposed to be a marketing genius. They've called him that. And that's all he has for us, really?
I'm the same.
Like, I keep waiting for like the big moment where I find out why he's so amazing. Like, there's going to be some huge reveal of something.
There's not going to be a huge reveal.
I know there never is. I'm like, there has
I'm
to be
sorry.
though, because they
I'm
just keep
sorry. There's not going
talking
to be
about him. And I'm like, maybe it will be the marketing. Maybe he will show us he has at least some talent with something there. I don't know. He knows how to talk a lot. That should mean something. And then he just goes and gets a giant billboard. And I'm like, oh, well, that's it. Okay. I don't even know if he's collecting that data, actually. And I think we've talked about that too. It's like, I don't think they're collecting any data on anything. And that's a very big issue, especially when running like a tech company. Half of what you need to do when you're running a tech company is collecting data on everything and how it's all working.
Or not working.
Yeah, like it blows my mind that there's nothing. All right, sorry. Back on to we're almost done this. So it says, this does raise the question, because we're always left with more questions, of why the option of allowing international sponsoring but paying limited upline generations has not been more successful. I guess. It seems that once a company steps out of the multi-level channel, distributors lose interest, and this is viewed as stepping out of the channel. Okay. The conclusion. Dun, dun, dun. There certainly are challenges with an international commissioning system, but I don't think that blanket statements about increased costs of commissions are valid, because commission costs are typically a function of qualifications, and many companies do not completely, seamlessly aggregate qualifications across the world. In fact, the only statement that we can generally hold to be true about seamless international commission plans is that it means a distributor can sponsor distributors in other countries under some set of rules, and they can receive full downline commissions under some set of rules. Awesome. These rules have not formed into some standard. Great. Almost every company has created their own methods for dealing with these issues. So it's very badly regulated, is what we're learning here today.
Or they have no rules, like On Passive has no rules, so they just throw all of that out the window.
I feel like there's a lot of companies that don't really have rules with this. Like, I'm just finding out that you need business licenses in some places even to be in an MLM, and I don't ever remember being told that at It Works or Sensi or
Right.
I was throwing that at the wall, okay? One thing that does seem consistent is the longer a company has an international commission plan, the more seams appear over time. I mean, really, Janice? Really? That's what you have for us? Okay. Another statement that is also true, are you ready, guys? Is those companies that have created a successful international commissioning program can often track well in excess 50% of their sales to that program. So, working through these issues is paramount if you want to grow your company to its full potential. And it is true, you do have to sit down and at least figure out how you're going to go about doing all of this. That much is true.
Well, you should sit down and figure out how you're going to do all this, unless you're Ash and you just don't figure out anything. And you just hit the go button and just keep on going.
Yeah, and I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of companies that are like hardly following these rules.
Well, I guess we'd have to look at, those more closely. So this is the next thing I thought that would be interested is, when we're talking about all of this, when we're looking at Amway being called out in India, but also the fact that that is, international, because Amway is originated in the US. And again, the backdrop of On Passive, thinking about like, okay, they are in all these different countries, but like is Susie sponsoring someone in India? Is she sponsoring somebody in Bolivia? And how does all of that intertwine and impact each other? Or, does she have everything in place? And my guess is probably not, because Ash hasn't put anything in place. And then again, I go back to trying to retrofit this after, like birthing this thing. And it's like now, but you don't have anything laid out for people. There's no rules and regulations or anything, which I find to be disturbing.
That is a good point, though, is that it's going to be hell to go back. Oh, look, version 5. I think I've only covered version 3 and 4. Oh, God. Amway is a great company. It's always one of my favorite to talk about because it's one of the longest running and biggest, scammiest, most intertwined with the government type companies. They're always so wonderful. They have a lot of lawsuits, by the way. Like a lot, all the time. It's very
And they
weird.
have a lot of money to like deflect all of that too.
Yeah, they like disappear. You barely hear of them. You gotta go searching sometimes. I gotta go check on them about once a month just to like keep up with it. Cause yeah, like this hasn't been all over the news.
No.
Right? Like you'll notice that when it comes to Amway, it's not
It's all hush
some of
hush.
yeah, like when Boo got shut down, for example, there were like articles all over the place about that, right? When something happens with Amway and yeah, you don't hear about it. You might get a couple of articles like behind MLM, but in the actual like mainstream media, you never hear. It's very strange.
So I think we can like take turns reading this, I'll do number one. The following are answers to commonly asked questions regarding international sponsoring and the multiple business requirement. What is international sponsoring? International sponsoring occurs when an ABO, the international sponsor, I forget what ABO stands for, is all of the Amway business something entity, I don't know.
I think wasn't it opportunity?
Oh, maybe Amway Business Opportunity. Yeah, that may be
I
that.
thought it was just like their name for a
I
HUD.
know they have like IBOs, and I mean there's an entire language.
Yeah,
that
they
was
have like the
before Amway.
WWBs are called something different too. The worldwide
Intro-
whatever.
When an ABO introduces the Amway business to and subsequently sponsors a prospective ABO in another market, the internationally sponsored ABO. The international sponsor will provide offshore support to the internationally sponsored ABO, who will also provide an in-market sponsor, the foster sponsor. Now that is
Anyone
just a little
confused?
mouthful of like, I'm confused now.
Yeah, I was like, imagine like having no clue about sponsors or what any of this shit means, and then
Oh,
you're trying to
ABO is
read that
Amway
freaking
business owner.
owner. Okay, thank you. That's
Amway
what it
business
was.
owner. I looked it up because I read this and I just went, what the hell did I just read?
Yeah, but this is the thing, is that even knowing that, it's still fucking confusing.
Yeah.
Like, even knowing what it means, like, the way that they word this, I'm always like, okay, I understand this lingo. You understand this lingo. A lot of our subs that are here right now understand it because they watch content, have also been in MLMs and etc. But imagine not knowing at all. Like, you barely know what a sponsor is. You barely know what an MLM even is. And then you just tried to read that paragraph. Like,
Well, you
brain
can pull your
explode.
eyeballs off.
Yeah, like, it's insane to me when I think about that, because sometimes I'm like, I'm lost, and I have to read it, like, 4 times, and I'm like, "Holy crap, imagine if
Exactly.
I had no clue what any of this was." No wonder why people sign up. They're just like, "Okay, I'll sign, just stop reading me these weird things."
The international sponsor is the one who introduces the prospect to the Amway business opportunity. The international sponsor works with their upline or Amway affiliate to identify a proper foster sponsor. Wow. Who helps the prospect get started and trains and supports them just as a personal sponsor would. The international sponsor encourages and provides offshore support. What the hell is offshore support? To this Amway business owner, remind the Amway business owner to renew, go to meetings, sell, and use the products. Wow.
Does that mean? Wait, I think, does offshore mean you're not there? And then in market means that you're like in person?
I don't know.
I think
They're
that's
writing
what.
the code. The international sponsor also maintains contact with the foster sponsor to support and ensure the internationally sponsored ABO's needs are being met and is receiving proper in-market support. Now, all
I
of
want to
that,
be adopted out of the MLM.
but imagine being this foster sponsor. I mean, I'm guessing that is someone who's like, yeah, I'm going to pretend, I'm not actually your sponsor, but I'm going to help you out because we're in the same country. That's what it kind of I'm picking up, but
I
maybe
want
I'm
to
wrong
jump off
because
the
this is
bridge
all
right now.
written in code.
Why do they have this? This is a real thing. Imagine being like, what do you do for your job? And then I was like, I'm a foster
I'm an
sponsor.
Amway business owner.
I'm a foster sponsor at Amway. Like, what? You're fostering kids out of Amway? No, like, I'm just a foster sponsor. What do you mean? I like sponsor the adults in the company. Jeez, Karen, don't you want to join? Now this next one's confusing as well. Number 2 is, do I have to be at a certain pin level in order to internationally sponsor someone? What is pin level? They don't
Pet
tell us.
level is their rank.
Again, though, if I had no
If
clue
you don't know,
about
yeah, if you
Amway,
don't know.
I would have no clue what the hell I just read. Like, I would literally be like, I was supposed to get given a pin? Like, well, what's going on? And then they say, no, any registered ABO can internationally sponsor an ABO in another Amway market. Instead of just being like, anyone can sponsor anyone, says, have a good day. Your turn. No, I'm just joking. You want me to do the next one?
Sure, because I was just like looking up all their pin levels.
I was like, well, mine was short. I only had to read 2 sentences. Number 3 is a great question. Should I establish a multiple business in another country? Multiple business, by the way. And if you were with On Passive, the answer would be yes. Also open up multiple accounts in multiple countries. And it says, answer. I'm assuming that's what A means, by the way. Again, they never tell us. Even if you meet the sign-up eligibility, it is not necessarily in your best interest to establish a multiple business in a foreign market. Establishing and operating a multiple business, it's very hard for me to keep saying multiple. I'm just saying. A multiple business is usually more costly, more challenging operationally, and more complicated culturally and linguistically than building an Amway business in your home market. I want to say no shit. Amway recommends ABOs focus on building their home market businesses to Emerald Bonus Recipient, EBR, or above level. Above that level is what they mean, before considering setting up a multiple business overseas. This is because at Emerald Bonus Recipient or above level, an ABO is in a position to potentially maximize sales plan benefits. However, no wonder why I say however so much. Jesus. However, internationally sponsoring someone else in another market is an option you can always consider. Just sponsor someone, but maybe don't open up a whole business or a multiple business there. Not multiple businesses, just a multiple business.
Okay, so I'll do the next one. Number 4. Are there any requirements for establishing a multiple business in another market? Yes. Effective January 1st, 2015, in order to establish a multiple business in another market, an ABO must be at least at qualified platinum level, as if you just automatically know what that means, in an Amway market. An ABO residing outside of their home market may be exempt from the qualified platinum requirement if the ABO can provide proof of residency and or has an immediate family member in the target market and is eligible to own and operate an Amway business there. Wow, that was a mouthful. Effective June 1st, 2016, the multiple business certification test is no longer required. However, it is strongly recommended that the ABO review the International Business Building All You Need to Know document. You know what? All of this is not really telling me a lot because I keep reading it going, I've read the words, I understand each of the words, but when you put it all together, I don't know what the hell you're saying. Or is it just me?
No. It's very convoluted. I feel like whenever I read these sheets, there's like filler words in here. And they say things so much more difficult than they need to.
Yes.
Does that make sense? Like I even my brain is having a brain fart now because it's exploded from what I'm trying to understand here. But it's almost like they could always say all of this so much easier and so much shorter and without all of these weird labels. See? The dogs agree with me.
I think my
They're
husband.
like, yeah, these MLMs be crazy. But yeah, no, I always feel like whenever I'm reading them, I'm reading like way too many words. And it almost over explains without explaining.
I think you said something very important right there. Over explaining without explaining.
Yeah, like I don't know if that makes sense, but like that's what it is. It's like a bunch of words and they almost over explain it, but then it never actually is substance. And then I'm just more confused. And I don't know, this is very Amway-esque. Like, excuse me, I feel like this is not written for people that don't know what Amway is.
Yeah.
Like, you have to already know.
You have to be neck deep into the world of Amway
to understand this at all. Because, like, it's been a little while since I've covered Amway.
Oh, me too.
Like, several months now, I believe. And, like, I'm even, like, drawing a blank on some of these right now. Like, wait, what's that? Oh, yeah. Like, so I can't, like I said before, I can't imagine not knowing a goddamn thing about Amway and coming in and then trying to make sense out of this thing.
Exactly. I don't even know. Should we keep going? Because I mean, I'm really getting a headache trying to figure this out.
Well, I feel like we can skip over the next few for sure.
Okay.
Because we don't really need to know about the specifics for Amway with this. We don't need to know about the January 1st, 2015.
I'm sitting here just looking. This one's just Philippine specific.
Sorry. Yeah, I feel like that now they're getting a little bit too specific.
I think it's getting very deep into the Amway lingo.
And see, that's the other thing. Like I said, like I feel like if you don't like look at this.
Yeah.
Like what does this have to do with? Like just this one. I have a
Look at
family
this.
member in the target market, but am not a qualified platinum or above. Can I start a multiple business in the target market? And then it's talking about how you have to have an immediate family member
As
as
defined by
defined by
Amway.
Amway. And then as you see, they literally have a freaking block here of what it means to be a biological by adoption or by marriage immediate family member. Okay. What the fuck is this? That's that if that's not culty, I don't know what is. That was some shit.
Yeah.
Just that one I wanted to see.
Okay.
That
But
was
see,
insane.
here's the thing. Okay. Even though this is written in Amway speak, okay, Amway people would understand what the hell's going on here. We're not Amway people, so it's, we've been exposed to some of it, but it gets very convoluted. But they at least went through the trouble of trying to like explain how it works if you are going to sponsor people internationally. Whereas on passive has absolutely nothing to go by. There's nothing except for join. Yay, I got another person to join.
And I do have to give Amway at least a little bit of props for not just being like, yeah, go into all the other countries and open a multiple business. They at least also talk about how you should, be a little bit higher up in rank so that you know some stuff and how you should probably take over your own market before you expand. So I do have to give them that. At least they're not giving the world's worst advice. Whereas, like you said, I feel like if this was Ash, his would just say, open up as many on passive accounts and businesses as you can in as many countries as possible. Go.
Yeah.
It's a done deal. The end. Like, whereas this is a very, very detailed, it's very specific to Amway and detailed. And I do feel like if you were a hun in this company and you were knee deep in this thing or neck deep in this thing, depending, that you would at least be able to read this and know what's expected of you.
Yes,
And
I
I
agree.
think that's kind of important for this business model is people, I mean, if MLMs were to work out, let's say, people would have to know what is expected of them, right? Like you have to know what you're supposed to be selling, what you're supposed to be doing with your day. Like you need to know how much commission you're making, how to run a team and etc. That's why like these coaching and trainings and all that are so successful out here, despite us all trying to stop them. People like to know what's expected of them. And it's like with on passive, you don't even get that. Like you're not even told really what's expected of you when you come in. It's just kind of come in, pay the $97 US plus the $5 fee, and then sit around and wait. Like there's nothing to go on for anything.
You are just left to your own devices.
Not even though, because there's like not even like there isn't even devices.
There's nothing.
Like there's literally nothing but like every once in a while you find out you got to be at a webinar.
Every once in a while, you got to be at a webinar every day.
Yeah, like every day or every couple days there's like an on-passive webinar that you have to attend. Other than that, you're pretty much just twiddling your thumbs. Like, you don't even know what you're supposed to be doing. At least with Scamway and the other MLMs, when you get there, you have at least some idea. You know what you're selling. You know what you're supposed to be doing to some extent. I feel with on passive, like, at this point, they don't even know if they're supposed to be building a team or not.
Okay, I just found something on the pin levels. Where is it? Yeah. Okay. And I mean, we're not going to read all of this, but it's just basically, here's the pin level right here, which you don't get anything until you get to the bronze build or whatever the hell that is, and I really don't care.
Yeah, isn't the pin level the higher up?
It's different ranks. You're a silver producer, gold producer, platinum. They've got, what is this? Ruby bonus, the founders platinum. I mean, like founders ruby. I mean, good Lord. Sapphire, founder sapphire.
Oh, Amway is one of the most like confusing ones. I feel like Amway began so many years ago, and then it's almost like they just kept building stuff onto it. And like as they grew, they just like they just like
double diamond, triple diamond. I mean,
see, they just kind of started slapping on more
founders
levels
crown,
as they
crown
grew.
ambassador, founders crown, that's where this is like the grand-pooba.
Yeah, that's like basically the highest you can get in there, other than running the freaking company yourself. But yeah, I remember trying to figure all that out when I was covering them for the deep dive I did on them, like when I was first out here, and it's actually like impossible to understand. Their levels are like new skin, or like that chart.
Just frightening.
They're all over the place too, and they don't make sense. I feel like at least with some of the MLMs, I can sort of figure it out, because it's like, okay, so you have a distributor, then you have a ruby, then you have a diamond or an emerald or whatever, and then in order to be this one, you need 2 of these and 1 of those. But when it comes to like some of these other ones, and Scamway's one of them, I have a really hard time trying to figure out the criteria, because they'll like throw in random stuff. It's hard to explain, but they'll be like, oh yeah, and then if you want to make it up to this rank, then you can also do it by doing this other thing over here. And you're like, wait, what the fuck is that now? Like, and yeah, it looks like this. And you're like, oh my God.
I mean, and imagine like this is just one person in on pass.
But that's the thing, is that is what this is. There is someone that is that blue diamond distributor. Like, that person does exist. This is their downline. This is what it would look like.
And there's someone way down here at the very, very bottom.
Yeah, if you're in this company, it's you.
Climb on up.
But that's the thing, is that unless you join at the very beginning, and that's why that's the only way. So like the thing about MLMs, because you'll hear some people say things like, oh, well, maybe they can be ethical. Maybe they can run well. But the thing is, in order to be successful in them, you have to join at the beginning, because you have to be at the beginning of all this. In order to join at the beginning and then have all this, you have to be the type of person that can throw out all of your morals, all of your integrity, all of your ethics. You have to be okay with walking on other people to get to the top, stealing people's money, lying, scheming, being fake. The things that you will have to do to get there, is that worth it? Is it worth selling your soul to be that blue diamond distributor, even if you could? And for 99% of the people in the world, luckily, the answer is no. That's a good thing. That's a good thing, though, right? You have to think of it like that. 99% of people aren't successful because they are not the type of people that can do all those things to be at the top. That's a good thing. The 1%, however, and they do say that there's about 2% of people in the world that are sociopaths. So it makes sense. Half of those people would be in MLMs. Just go with me on this. That 1% of people are the people that are okay with doing those things. So it's like, yeah, you can get there. You could maybe join a company when it first starts if you really want to. If one starts up tomorrow, you could totally go join that company and you could be that blue diamond distributor. But do know that you will have to sell your soul in order to get there and stay there. And by the way, you can lose that at the drop of a hat. All it takes is one of these first level people dropping out, and then you lose this rank.
No love for sociopaths.
And are you okay rebuilding?
Yeah, and that's the other thing is that I've talked to people that have lost. Like they've built a huge team and then had one of their upper people drop out on them. And then because of that, they fall down 3-4 levels in their rank. And then they have to rebuild that team back up. And it's not a fun place to be. They make it sound like being that blue diamond distributor is a lot of fun and that you get to just hang out and make money. But that's not at all what it is. You're constantly moving this chart around trying to keep this like this because people are constantly dropping out.
Well, I'm thinking for tomorrow for us to look at Pay Diamond. And I mean, it's really hard to find stuff on it. So it's going to be like several articles that we will look at to see like what Pay Diamond was all about, because we know that Ash was involved with that. And it was also in Brazil. And there was something else that he was involved in that was also in Brazil, Telex Free.
Yeah.
Telex Free. So it makes sense that, made friends in Brazil and then got involved in something else that was shut down.
Well, that's what usually happens, right? Is people go like MLM hopping, and it seems like a lot of these people in on passive have gone almost MLM hopping together. And like met around along the way as they were all hopping from MLM because they all wanted to be that first person, that blue diamond distributor.
Freddie Pay Diamond was it was an MLM. It was actually a Ponzi scheme that was shut down in 2018. And there is some evidence that Ash was associated with Pay Diamond. But we haven't really gone into the details of Pay Diamond. And that's what we're going to look at tomorrow, because I think it's always important for us to look at what his past was and also look at the same time what he's doing currently, because the past influences the present. If that makes sense.
Yeah, Freddie, it's one of the ones Ash Mufara did.
So yeah,
we will look into that one. It's actually a very interesting one. It should be very interesting. It's not like other MLMs either. It's kind of a bit different. So I found it really interesting when I briefly was looking into it when I was deep diving Ash.
So that's what we're going to do tomorrow to continue on with our connection to On Passive. And I think this also helped us think about, well, what are all the things that would have to have been thought about in order for Ash to open up in all these different countries?
Which he claims to be doing. I mean, he's already in several. He's in Canada, he's in the UK, he's in the US, he's in India. So he's already in several countries. I don't think he's in all the countries he claims to be in. But, he's going around, and I don't think he's planning or thinking of any of this stuff, which again just goes to show he obviously doesn't care about his company being successful in that way, but then he also doesn't care about any of these founders either and what it will mean for them going forward.
Yeah. Well, I want to say thank you to everybody who participated in the chat, and thank you to my fabulous mods, and to Beth for being here and, riding this crazy ride with me as we look at all of this stuff. I appreciate your time and your effort and expertise. Thank you so much. And since
Thank
this is
you.
not fully a non-passive one, we're not going to do a closing song because, it was Amway, more Amway, with a hint of on-passive here and there.
Yes.
Anyway, don't forget you are beautiful and I love you. We will be back tomorrow and we'll see you then. Good night.
Thanks, everyone. Love you. Bye.